Good evening. Welcome to the business meeting of the Florence City Council. Will you please stand? We pray for the wisdom to make decisions that are beneficial to the people represented here. Empower us to speak honestly, reflect wisely, and vote with integrity. We seek your guidance tonight. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll. Ms. Chambers.
Here.
Mr. Wynn.
Here.
Ms. Kemper.
Here.
Ms. Wingo.
Here.
Mr. Osborne.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
We have approval for the minutes of the special meeting of September 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo? Second, Mr. Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, it is our pleasure to welcome Kentucky State Representative Mary Ann Proctor to our meeting. Mary Ann is always a wealth of knowledge, and she represents a good portion of our city, so we're happy to have her here and to speak to us and give us some updates.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I was going to give you a little bit of legislative update, but that was a long time ago. That was April 15th, and a lot of time's gone on between now and then. The House filed 838 bills and the Senate did 380. So only 160 made the governor's desk, but that's still a lot of bills. But I think the things that affect the city, I just want to briefly touch on in case you didn't know. The things that we made a lot of investments, obviously budget year. So we made a lot of investments in public safety, education, and infrastructure. So I think it's important is with the constitutional amendments coming up, we talk a little bit about the SEEK funding for the schools. The state pushed out historic amounts of money down to the local level. We increased SEEK funding 3% this year, 6% in the following year. So that leaves the local districts. They have the money at their disposal. If they choose to give teachers and forward-facing personnel raises, that is certainly at their pleasure, not at the state level. And I think some people get confused by that, but that is a local level issue. And we also made a lot of investment in our Kentucky State Police by allowing them to train an additional 150 cadets over the next 2 years. We addressed every state public pension to make those solvent. The road plan is a big deal, certainly here in Florence. Boone County did get $500 million that will be spent between 2026 and 2030. Things that probably Florence is most interested in, ongoing projects is Gunpowder 237, looking at how do we remediate flooding along there. That's still in the plan right now. Obviously, that would involve taking some homes. That hasn't been determined, and there's not a specific plan on that. So just an update. Turfway Road to Arrow Parkway to Donaldson, right-of-way is already underway, and construction should begin next year in July. So that's something we're pretty excited about. And then certainly the rest areas at 7175. Northbound, already working on that. They're going to address the northbound side first because that's probably the most hazardous with all those trucks that are lined up along the side of the road. And then they'll be doing the south side. So those are some certainly infrastructure and school things that are going on. So I don't know if you guys have any questions about that.
Is the goal with the rest area to allow for more truck parking for like their rest breaks and that kind of thing?
They are. And so there was a question brought up, do they have to expand further out and take additional property? And they do not. They're going to be able to work within the confines of that to expand that is the goal. At least that's my understanding.
It's definitely needed, and I think it would take some strain off of our truck stop here as well.
Yes, it would. So that's in the works, and so I think for us, that's certainly one of the most important things. I don't know all the legislative priorities from Frankfurt this year. We haven't had our caucus yet and retreat to really discuss that, but I can tell you probably the first bill that will be voted on is to continue to decrease the personal income tax down to 3.5% this year. So I think you can anticipate that coming January of 2025. For me personally, some of the things, all my legislation is constituent-driven. One of the things that we've been having a lot of concern on is squatters. It is affecting the nation and is now in Kentucky. Today, in Grant County, we have a squatter that an attorney called me in today. They've been trying to evict since August, and it was bounced out of court today because of procedural issues. So what I've been doing is working very closely with our stakeholders here, law enforcement here in Boone County, to come up with identifying what a squatter is and making some modifications to existing KRS legislation to identify the squatter and to give law enforcement immediate means to remove somebody. So not having to go through these lengthy processes of eviction notices and all these various hearings. If the landowner can rightly prove that they own the property, it allows law enforcement the immediate means to remove them and holds law enforcement, they are immune if there is misrepresentation from the landowner, protecting our police force. And there's also, this is a step-up bill, so we've got professional squatters. They go place to place to place. So each time that they do this, and we're making it now a felony, it's a Class D felony for the first time. Each time you do this, that felony increases so that we can try to eliminate this. And, our homes are our castles, are our most important resource, so we want to do that, and especially in this community where we have a lot of snowbirders. You don't want to go snowbird and come back and hear somebody's taken up root in your house. So that personally is what I'm working on. Continuing to work on certificate of need repeal. Last session, I brought a bill that would eliminate competitor veto. It left the certificate of need process in place, didn't change one thing of it. All it did was keeping the dominant provider from being able to sue out somebody who wanted to come into the state of Kentucky. It didn't pass in legislation, not even close. It was supposed to, we were supposed to have a task force to further discuss that. That did not come to fruition this session. Instead, we're using our interims to have these hearings. So I presented again into licensing the occupation in June on this bill to get feedback on that and plan to do that again. So those were things that I myself will be addressing. In the interim, we've had a lot of concern about our firefighters. Our firefighters and our policemen, we're very concerned. We're aware of the shortages that we have now and what's upcoming. We keep hearing we've got to do something with the pension. Some of the feedback from some legislators was that's not a road that they were willing to entertain at this point, but looking at other ways to make these jobs to better recruit and to make this something that's more financially beneficial for our firefighters in particular, because we certainly are at crisis with that. So that's something that's been in discussion in Frankfurt this session. Don't really have any more for you than that, but we are aware of it. We don't have the solutions. We're relying on you all. And I'm continue to bring that to the table to continue to guide us and help us so that we make some good decisions. Most of you know we've got on the ballot, we've got some constitutional amendments. Amendment 1, which is basically keeping illegal aliens from voting in our elections. Amendment 2 it's the school choice bill. And on that, all that does, if that were to pass, I'm sorry.
Just make sure, if they want to keep aliens from voting, they vote which way?
Illegal
Or if they want
aliens.
to
To
because
keep
sometimes
illegal
it can get
aliens.
very confusing when you go there and you think a yes is a no and a no is a yes, so.
If you vote yes on Amendment 1, that is, you are saying yes to keep illegal aliens from voting in your
Okay.
elections, to ban them from doing that. Because right now, there's strangely enough, some loopholes in that would allow them to vote in our local elections. So a yes is no illegals voting. Thank you for the question.
Can you clarify something for me on
I
that?
can try.
In that amendment, it says persons convicted in any court of competent jurisdiction of treason or felony or bribery in any election or of such high misdemeanors as the General Assembly may declare shall operate as an exclusion from the right of suffrage, but persons hereby excluded may be restored to their civil rights by executive pardon. I just want to clarify, is that only crimes of election fraud, or is that any type of felony crime?
My understanding is any felony.
So any felony. So right now, people that have been convicted of felonies, there was an executive order, am I correct, that Governor Bashir issued when he took office to allow people that were convicted of felony crimes to vote once they've been able to serve their time and pay their restitution and are no longer in a reporting status. Is that correct?
I do not have all the answers to that question, so I can't speak to that. I don't know.
I feel like I'd heard that.
Right. So what I'm concerned about is that this right that's been given back to many people across our state would then be taken away from those people. And then also anyone else who maybe has had a struggle with maybe a drug problem and has changed their life and turned their life around would now, even once they've served their time and have completed their restitution, would no longer then be allowed to vote if this amendment passes.
Is it just for aliens, though?
The focus of that bill is really for illegal
Okay.
aliens. You know, there has been a lot of push down there, and the bill has not come across to restore felon rights. There's been discussion about it, but that hasn't been legislation that's passed. It's always preferable over an executive order, because those can be changed by whoever's in office. So I think the most prudent thing to do is, if we're going to restore felon rights to vote, is do it through legislation versus an EO. But I'll double check on that. I don't have a 100% answer, but great question.
It just seems to me like that's hidden in this bill. It's something that I've never talked to a constituent that's disagreed with the current process since the executive order has gone into action. And it's not something that I would see the current people serving in Frankfurt of changing to favor the people starting their lives over.
Let's see, a quick look at this is really centering on U.S. citizenship.
That is the intent
That's,
of it.
it's, I don't know that it may be people who are not U.S. citizens with felonies. Maybe that's, but not necessarily just citizens with felonies.
That's a great question.
I don't know
clarify
I don't know
that.
it, so I guess we just need to do our research before we go to the ballot.
That's a great question. And then Amendment 2 is just, there's been a lot of misinformation on both sides of the aisle on this. All the passage of that, if that isn't a yes, it just allows the General Assembly to have a conversation about what does school choice look like. This is not saying there's a voucher program, that this is going to go to private schools. That is not of this at all. Our current Constitution says that no money can go outside, public monies can go outside the common schools. So all this does is allow us to have a conversation. Nothing more, nothing less. And then we have some ballot initiatives that Florence and Union both have. And, with regard to the medical marijuana and other businesses, the dispensaries and other businesses. So I think, ballot measures, as you've just brought up, can be inherently confusing. People may not completely understand what they are voting on. So we're going to have a town hall on October 15th at Florence Baptist from 6 to 7:30 with County Commissioner Jesse Brewer, Mayor Larry Solomon from Union, and myself. And Jesse will be addressing some of the county issues and why they chose to opt out of Boone County, being in the contention for the licenses for the dispensaries. Also, some of the concerns that people may have about county. Mayor Solomon's going to talk about Union Promenade, what's going on there, and also to really maybe expand more on what is this ballot initiative that people may inherently not understand. And I'll be addressing the constitutional issues and have an answer for you, Ms. Chambers, on that. So that'll be a great time, really, for a lot of public input. Ours will be very short, but really is for the community to come out and to ask some of these questions, some of these tough questions that hopefully we know the answers to. We don't have to get them before people make that decision. So those are the things that are going on, certainly from the state perspective, some of the highlights that impact the city. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or concerns that I would need to know.
I just want to clarify real quick before you leave. Amendment 2 states the General Assembly may provide financial support for the education of students outside the system of common schools. So to me, that's more than a conversation. That allows public dollars, because tax dollars, to be used outside of public schools.
The word in there is may. And if you look at the rest of that, it still keeps the funding for public schools. That is our constitutional responsibility, is to fund public schools. So that doesn't change. All it does is, it's just allowing, because of our Constitution, we aren't even allowed to have a discussion about what does any kind of school choice look like. We are only one of 2 states in the entire United States that has no form of school choice. So this is just something that we're looking at to have a conversation. And as you know, with any legislation in Frankfurt, it takes a long time to get things going. There's a lot of public input on that. It is, the legislation is highly vetted by lots of people, but it truly is, that's all it is. That's a General Assembly may have a conversation. We can't even have a conversation due to the latest Supreme Court ruling from our Kentucky Supreme Court.
Anyone else have any questions?
All right.
I would say we have our homework to do, just to make sure that we are real clear on what it is we're voting on in these constitutional amendments, that, because I can see where Ms. Chambers where you'd come up with that. So just doing a quick look, the Secretary of State, so that's sos.ky.gov. It does have them listed, and of course, we're in the middle of the meeting, so I haven't really delved into it, but I do see that the language is there, so if people are interested, they can go and look through that and figure that out and see which way their values align.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you so much.
Can I add one more thing? That regarding Amendment 2, you said we have our homework to do, and I agree with that, and that everyone should read the wording carefully, and I agree with that. But I would also like to say that it might be a good idea to speak with the people on the front lines of this. So if your child attends a public school, it might be a good idea to talk to your child's teacher, your administrator, the people on the school board about this if you're doing research.
And I guess the flip side is if your child does not attend a public school, you may want to talk to their teachers and administrators as well, and just find out what aligns with your values. All right, thank you. We do have a discussion. This is a discussion and possible action. We did not get this information to you for the caucus meeting because we were at KLC at the time. So if you are comfortable, we can proceed, but I will just explain a little bit. It's an ordinance relating to personnel, and it is with regard to the loss of our longtime Chief Financial Officer / HR Director, Linda Chapman. She retired. Anybody that knows Linda knows that she did multiple jobs, and it simply really is not possible to replace her with one single person. We've been saying that for quite some time, for months. We started that initiative by bringing on Laura Grant, who is our HR administrator, and she's done a really great job taking really the lead in all things human resources, and made an impact in just a short amount of time, and we continue to look for her to evolve. In the proposal that you received, we will eliminate the CFO/HR position permanently, which we have a finance director position. That is not a new position, that is Jason Lewis's position, but it does change some of the job duties. We do have to comply with ADA requirements. We're looking at all of our job descriptions in the city to make sure that they comply with ADA requirements, as well as changes the reporting structure. We have a city coordinator on the books, but we do not have a city coordinator. That used to be what we had before we had a director of administration, so we have updated that and aligned that. The senior accountant position is also not a new position, it's just a new title. We have someone already in that position. He assists with the World of Golf, the Aquatic Center, water bills, shutoffs, all kinds of things. It's really a very large job. And between the finance director and the senior accountant, there is a need to bring on additional accounting help, and that is the creation of the new position, the staff accountant. Keeping in mind that we are eliminating the CFO HR position and bringing on the staff accountant position to do an entry-level kind of accounting work to assist our finance director and senior accountant. And we did not have really a good succession planning for when Linda left, because Linda did so much and it was just so difficult to undertake that. And we phased that in by hiring both HR and then later the finance and getting them trained separately. But we would like to be in a position where there is more duplication of duties, that we don't have one person doing all the work, that there is multiple people trained. And so that's why we've chose to go in that direction with the finance positions. As far as administration, and I'll just read these stats into the record here. As most of the council aware, over the past 2 years, the number of open records requests has increased significantly. The city processed 493 open records requests in 2023. We are already on track as of September for 434 and project that we will break 500 this year. And this is a notable rise from 2019, when our average was I guess not prior to 2023, our average was 175 open records requests. So what is an open records request? That is police reports, that is information for insurance claims, it is for accident reports, it could be contracts, it could be personnel reports if someone is going through bankruptcies, or that maybe they worked here 10 years ago, we still have to produce those records. Could be all kinds of things. It could be citizen requests. It could be business requests. So those things will continue to grow as the size of the city grows, which we are growing at a very healthy rate. I project at least 5%. So it makes sense that we will continue to see that. We anticipate that this person will be under our city clerk and that they could handle this in a part-time role. We do have an unfilled clerk in this role that could be in this role, but it's a full-time position. We don't think we need a full-time position. That's why we're asking for a part-time position. And then we will also be making a adjustment to the city clerk public relations administrator's salary, because now she will be managing yet another person. To, make sure that we minimize any budget impacts. Again, we're talking about eliminating some positions or eliminating the CFO HR position. We are still currently not filled in the finance clerk position, and we are going to delay filling some of these roles for a little while. It just takes a while to work through this. It really is a process when you hire someone, and we do a very thorough job of vetting our employees, and I think that's why we have such good retention. So those are the proposal. Again, we have before you the ordinances that would the ordinance that would amend previous ordinances relating to personnel policies, job description, and authorized positions and pay plan. I guess at this point, it's just a level of comfort. You have received the job descriptions, you've received all the information, and if it is simply your desire to consider this tonight, we have discussion tonight, and we can take action. We don't have to, so.
Mayor, if I may, I'd just like to see if we could table this, to try to just, there's a lot of moving parts in this. There's a lot of people this and what duties this one had and that one had. I really appreciate you talking about what you did tonight as far as explaining that. But personally, I'd like to see if we could just table this.
So Gary has a motion to table this. Let me just make sure, I want to make sure to be clear. you want to table the vote, you don't want to table discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Gary has made a motion to table a vote on the action
On the ordinance.
on the ordinances.
Can we discuss that?
No, you have to have a second, then you can discuss.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess motion dies for lack of second. So we still would have to make a motion to put it on the agenda. So hang tight. So now I'll entertain discussion. Is there discussion?
Didn't we already discuss this in the budget meeting, all of these changes?
Probably foreshadowing of these to come, but not in the specific ordinance format that you have in front of you. Is there any other discussion?
Mayor, I'll just add, I think that the issue in the finance department is, I know we did talk about this previously, that we were going to need to make changes. And what form that would take, we needed to kind of sort through and figure out on how to make that work. We have made some other changes in positions over the last year and a half, I guess. So I think that I understand what Mr. Nguyen is saying, that there's a lot of moving parts, it feels like. But I think these are things that we're not in the office every day. We don't see it every day. We don't see how long it takes them to get through these, 450 to 500 open records requests every year. I mean, I know that it takes a long time to process those because there's a lot of legal issues that come with that. You're required to, things sometimes need to be redacted. The attorneys have to review things. If things come out of other departments, those department heads have to make sure everything's been included in that information, that you're not missing something that needs to be in there. And we are bound legally by KRS statute to turn these open records requests over within a certain period of time. Do we have 3 days? 5 days now, okay. And so it's a lengthy process. So it's got to be done very quickly and it's got to be done accurately. So I know there's a lot of pressure on the folks that do this work to make that happen. Again, in the finance department, yes, Linda wore a lot of hats. She did a great job. And we always knew that it would take more than one person to fill her shoes. So I do understand that. I'm okay with these proposed changes, but I don't want anybody else, if anybody else has questions or they want to wait or what, I'm happy to do whatever.
And I'm not saying that I'm not saying I wouldn't be in favor of
Yeah.
this. I'm just trying again to digest. There's just a lot of moving parts to get a
Yeah.
packet with all this and then an ordinance in there to try to do it all at once. I'm just uncomfortable with that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Jenna?
One issue that, came up 2 years ago with the aquatic center was that Linda, it really is a financial background. I have a marketing background. My husband has a marketing background. So when we were trying to save the aquatic center, it took a lot of marketing on our end that I feel like there deserves to be a staff member in this. So when I spoke to Josh before the meeting, it sounds like maybe that's figured out, but I just wanted to put it out there that if there's a lot of work going on with the city clerk, then who's going to fill in the lot of work that needs to happen with Parks and Recreation overall, not just the aquatic center. I mean, World of Golf is pretty much its own entity, and really the Freedom too, but we have all of these new parks that were changes that we're considering, and I just feel like there should be a liaison, like Vanessa back a few years ago. Maybe that's Tina's new role. I just think we do need to discuss it, and,
I couldn't agree with more. I think you're right on. Linda had done so much, and she did the financial piece of managing the daily admissions and all that, but she was
Right.
also managing this marketing piece,
Right,
and maybe
right.
that, it worked, but could we morph it into something going forward, I absolutely can. I think that's what Eric wants to get to the bottom of with his Florence Aquatic Center master plan, as well as his Parks master plan. What are the recommendations for new personnel? I would not be surprised if both of those proposals come back with recommending, a change in our structure maybe to address exactly what you're talking about.
Parks and Recreation.
Managing recreational amenities to the highest level that we can, and I do not disagree with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Leslie? Your mic's on, so I didn't know.
So a couple random comments. So regarding Jenna's comment that she just made, I mean, would it not be a logical idea to have a board that handles the parks and recs like we used to have in our ordinances that we voted to dissolve not that long ago? So there's-
That board really wasn't operational since the 70s. Now, could we choose a board? Sure, we could. I don't think that's off the table, but I don't think that helps us manage the accounting of the aquatic center and the golf course, which is the immediate need. But
Okay.
I think that's definitely something we should put like on our radar.
Okay, well, that's my comment on that. And then regarding the open records requests, if we were able to make more data accessible on our website public, such as maybe some of the information in our council packets, would that eliminate a part of the open records request?
No, and I think Melissa can probably speak to why. Open records requests deal with, a lot of times, litigation. An example would be a fire. We do not release body cam footage inside a residence. We do not release body cam footage of juveniles. We do not release body cam footage of deceased persons. So every request, there's no two alike. Every request has to be reviewed. So the bulk of what we get deals with police and fire public safety issues. Am I speaking correctly? Is there anything you can add? Yeah.
Environmental and code enforcement, it's a broad range. Even if we do put the ordinances online, we put the minutes online, but
Yeah, it's all
even
there.
then, people are going to want additional information that we just wouldn't, because then you'd bog down the website and it would be too cluttered. With the reports and stuff, there's personal information on there. We just wouldn't want to ever put that out there. We do put as much as we can, and, it's always we're evaluating to see what else we can put on there, but it is more of a privacy issue. We want to make sure that we're maintaining people that use our services, people that live in the city. We want to make sure that we're respecting their privacy as well, especially when it comes to code enforcement and things of that nature. So we just try to watch that.
And until things are approved, they are a draft. So those things are not typically put on websites anyway.
And then with with more of the payments coming through the city, I'm assuming online, for instance, I now pay my property taxes online, I pay my water bill online. Does that free up any labor in the finance department?
A little, but Jason, you want to speak to that?
You'd be surprised
Yeah.
how little it does.
Yeah.
I'll say from the week and a half I've been here, I have seen our occupational license finance supervisor, Ashley, do more manual type work with those kind of issues than you would imagine. And I will say that, our finance clerks up front are fully occupied from the minute they step in the office to the minute they leave at 5 o'clock. And I think that adding a staff accountant will both, assist in what the mayor's already talked about in filling, Linda's massive shoes, but also helping up front as well with our finance supervisor so that she can pay more attention to, the folks coming in at the window and all the payments coming in online. So as the mayor said, as we continue to grow, we'll just get more and more payments. And, I think for the time being, our ladies up front are doing a great job, but I can see the stress every day. So that's my 2 cents.
Any other discussion? So this is, something we can sleep on it, we can move forward. I mean, there's, we've had this situation in place the way it is for a little while now. So if you need a week, you need a week, but if you're ready, you're ready. I guess I just need to know what council's pleasure is. If you want to put this, I need a motion to put it on the agenda if you want to put it on the agenda for this week.
I'll make a motion to put it on the agenda for this week.
Okay, we have a motion? We have a second? Okay, so motion dies for lack of a second. We will put it on the agenda for next week. And at that point in time, we may need a special meeting. All right, next is a municipal order. MO 11-2024, a municipal order approving the reappointment of Don Vollen to the Florence Urban Forest Commission for a 3-year term. Is there a motion to approve?
Second?
Did I say the ordinance number? MO 11-2024? I don't know if I read that or not. I'm sorry,
MO
this
10,
is out of
sorry.
order. I'll pretend I didn't read that. I guess it doesn't matter if we do it out of order, does it?
No.
Okay. It's a municipal order, MO 10-2024. It's a municipal order approving the reappointment of Ed Huddleston to the City of Florence Urban Forest Commission for a 3-year term. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Nguyen?
Second?
Second, Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chambers,
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen,
Yes.
Ms. Kemper,
Yes.
Ms. Wingo,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
All right, we have municipal order MO 11-2024. That's a municipal order approving the reappointment of Don Vollen to the City of Florence Urban Forest Commission for a 3-year term. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Nguyen,
Second?
second, Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Chambers,
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen,
Yes.
Ms. Kemper,
Yes.
Ms. Wingo,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Florence residents are able to pay our annual city property taxes at the Finance Department. The Boone County Sheriff's Office is also stationed in the Finance Department to collect county property taxes. Speaking of taxes, our tax rate went down, so that's always a happy thing. Fall cleanup is scheduled for Monday, October 14th through Sunday, October 20th. Drop-off is at the Public Services Maintenance Facility located at 7850 Tanners Lane. The cleanup is available for city residents only, and you must show proof of residency. Contact the City of Florence Public Services Department at 859-647-5416 for more information. The City of Florence Veterans Commission will host a Veteran Resource Fair, which is scheduled for October 19th from 10 till 2 at the Florence Government Center. Various veteran support agencies will have booths, and there will be panel discussions. The resource fair is open to all veterans, active duty military, and their family members. Additional information is on our website. October 20th at 2 p.m., there will be a Pomeroy marker dedication and Patriot Grave marking service in honor of Private William Carpenter of the Culpeper Militia and pastor of Hopeful Lutheran Church at the Carpenter Family Cemetery, 54 Circle Drive in Florence. Additional information is on the city's website, and that is for a Revolutionary War member of our community here from Florence. The Halloween Art Contest runs from October 21st to 25th. It's open to all young artists from kindergarten through 8th grade. Contest rules and instructions are available on the city website. Please submit all projects to the Administration Department by October 25th. For more information, contact the Administration Department at 859-647-8177. The 2024 Leaf Collection Program will begin on October 21st and run through December 19th. Contact the City of Florence Public Services Department at 5416 or for more information. The schedule is also on the city's website. The City of Florence Police Department is participating in the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday, October 26th from 10 to 2. There will be 2 drop-off locations, the north parking lot of the Florence Government Center and the Florence Kroger Marketplace at 7685 Mall Road. Call the Florence Police Department at 859-647-5420 for additional information. Our annual Halloween Night Out on Tuesday, October 29th at Thomas More Stadium, home of the Florence Yaws, will be from 6 to 8 o'clock, and the event will have vendors and treats for kids. The Nightmare at the Ballpark will be a spectacular family-friendly event, and if you'd like to come be a vendor, the vendor form is on our website. Contact the administration department if you would like to obtain more information. Trick-or-treat hours are on Halloween, Thursday, October 31st, from 6 to 8. Please turn on your porch light if you would like to participate. In partnership with Florence Christian Church, as part of the Veterans Day program, the city will be hosting the Witness Tree event. The event will be held beginning November 1st and run through November 11th, daily at 8 a.m. The 11-day program is intended to raise awareness of the estimated 22 veterans who commit suicide in our nation each day. The daily ceremonies will include placing 22 dog tags on a tree, readings, meditative thought, and reflection. Additional resources will be available for participants. The City of Florence will hold our annual Veterans Day program on Saturday, November 9th at 2 p.m. at the Florence Government Center downstairs in our community rooms. And finally, the Honor Run Half Marathon will be held the morning of Sunday, November 10th, beginning at the Florence Yawl Water Tower. Funds raised are donated to Honor Flights Tri-State. There will be road closures during the race, and those closures will be posted on the city website and social media. And I believe it'll be a similar route as to years past. All right, anyone on council desire recognition? Any department heads? Anyone in the audience?
Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Do you want to mention the presentation that we attended today with the police chief at the Nature Park House? I think it's a pretty special event and
Jeff, do you mind talking about that?
Bringing up.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. It's called Project Heart Restart. It was started by Christ Hospital over in Cincinnati. They partnered with the Rotary Clubs and other sponsors to provide AEDs for all police cruisers. And it's been a success over in Ohio, and they are now bringing it over into Northern Kentucky. And we are one of the departments that'll be first given AEDs.
I think we also want to bring up that because St. Elizabeth is partnering with Christ Hospital with this, with the Rotary Clubs, that St. Elizabeth Hospital today committed $150,000 to this project, and the St. Elizabeth Foundation has committed to raise an additional $150,000 to make this happen for Boone, Kenton, Campbell, and Pendleton counties. So it was a pretty special event today.
It really was. All right. No. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Nguyen.
Second.
Second, Ms. Wingo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.